Today we are reading, resourcing, and reviewing the mysterious and magnificent work of Toni Morrison in The Bluest Eye. Thank you for tuning in to SaronSays.com. The Bluest Eye is Toni Morrison's first novel that she published in 1970, and although it is not her most famous work, this book is critically acclaimed and has kind of set the foundation for a lot of her writing themes, which include racism, sexism, self-love, the politics, and the social structure of prejudice. The Bluest Eye takes place in the early 1940s in a small town in Ohio where the majority of the community is African American and impoverished. We see lots of themes of the times and kind of what's going on in the world in this Midwestern town by the way people see themselves, the themes of religion and patriarchy and misogyny, particularly in this story. So we know that not only is this a book that takes place in a world where people aren't necessarily nurtured or in tune with their identity and their perception of self, but we also get from the reading that it is a place where people are mysteriously manipulative and almost victims of their own environment, right? We don't really see one character who is able to kind of rise above the circumstances of their environment and of their community. The story is told in progression by seasons. We start off with autumn and then of course move on to winter and spring. Is that right? Autumn is first? Yes, autumn is first. And the book isn't told in chapters as much as it's in sections. Now, the interesting thing about it is there's not anything that's necessarily carrying us from one season to another that signifies that there is a timeline in the story. Of course, we do see the progression of the main character and we see her experiences, her trauma, and the circumstances that are in her life that affect her and ultimately lead up to the end of the story and her mission or her prayer or her wish to have blue eyes. But the main character of The Bluest Eye is a girl named Pecola Breedlove, and Pecola is under attack, not literally but figuratively, by the other people in her community, her family, her teachers, her peers, because she is dark-skinned and she is what the people of the community call disturbingly and uncomfortably ugly. So everyone has created a narrative and has then shared with her, whether it be verbally or, you know, with their energy, that she is ugly and that she is not worthy. So the book is about Pecola wanting to be beautiful, wanting to have particularly blue eyes as a way to be accepted and received and loved by the people around her. She uses the blue eyes metaphor as a way to kind of uplift and praise whiteness and the pureness that comes with having blue eyes, which in her mind is a symbol of power and beauty and acceptance, right? She's in a world where she sees that black people are poor and hurting and white people are not, and she sees the bluest eyes in particular as a sign of a way that she can escape the pain and the prejudice and really just the infliction of negativity and of, as Toni Morrison says, the death of self-esteem that has kind of infiltrated her life and her perception of self. The main themes of this book are power systems, self-hatred, and the construction of identity. We don't necessarily see that in every character as much as we see how every character fits into this overarching theme of what does it mean to be powerful, what does it mean to be free, what does it mean to be beautiful. And the power structures aren't just seen as white and black or or rich and poor as we've been taught in American society. It's even the difference between being beautiful and being perceived as ugly, or having the freedom of self-expression versus being muted, or being supported and loved and nurtured versus being neglected and abused. And we see that continuously through this book, that the struggle is not just to be beautiful, but it is to be powerful. And I think Toni Morrison has an interesting way of combining this idea that beauty can equal power, and that very often people who are not beautiful see beauty as a way to be powerful, right? People who are not powerful, people who are not powerful, yes, see power as a way to be beautiful. I think one of the main themes and takeaways for The Bluest Eye for me is this idea of downplaying or eradicating the beauty of Black women. We know that Toni Morrison herself is a Black woman, and I think what she aims to communicate to the reader is that we have been taught to see our beauty as a way to construct and stand on self-love, as a tool for being able to accomplish our goals and being able to communicate effectively with people, or being able to just even be a valuable member of our communities. And when we put power in beauty, not because we ourselves have put our power in our beauty, but the world and society has put our power in beauty, we are able to deconstruct the woman and devalue the woman by downplaying her beauty, right? So The Bluest Eye is about a character who says, I want to be free and I want to be beautiful, because that is how I can come out of the pain that I'm suffering. That is how I can come out of my shell. That is how I can live a life where I don't feel like I'm invisible. I don't feel like people hate me. I don't feel like I'm put to the side. And how, unfortunately, we are not taught to love ourselves, right? And we're taught that some way beauty exists outside of us, and that it's not within us, it's not already with us, but that we have to aim to be beautiful. We have to aim, we have to strive, we have to attempt to reach beauty, to pray for the bluest eye in this situation, in this book, as a way to have a sense of identity and a sense of self-peace and a sense of self-love. So the main takeaway from The Bluest Eye for me is, how do we exist in a world where we are being taught that beauty is not within us, it is outside of us. And that not only is it outside of us, but it is something other than what we are. It is something other than what we have or what we see, and how that affects the way we move in the world and the way we show up in our own lives. I think without a doubt, this book is worth the read. It's so profound and meaningful because it really talks about things that we're all suffering with. And I think it gives me, as a Black woman, the experience of connecting to my own subconscious pain or trauma as it relates to my own beauty, and understanding how I can show up in the world in a better way, a more productive and more positive way as it relates to my sense of self-love and self-identity, and how I help other people construct their self-love and their self-identity as a healer, as a teacher, as a mentor, and just as a human being, right? How I can connect my humanity to the humanity of others, particularly Black women. You can find The Bluest Eye anywhere books are sold. Toni Morrison is a Nobel Peace Prize winner and a Pulitzer Prize winner, and she is a bad. So you can find her books anywhere, okay? Please continue to support and tune in. If you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more book reviews. Peace and love, sanity and serenity.